In March of 2025, the Cronos Strategic Reserve was introduced, and with that also a mint of 70 billion CRO tokens, and therefore also the supply was more than tripled. And every month more and more CRO tokens are hitting the circulating supply, but still the price is slowly going up. So what is going on? Well guys, I would say let's strap in and let's find out. This video is sponsored by Obisidian Finance, the place to make swaps with low spread and low fees. Since the announcement of the Cronos Strategic Reserve, the CRO token went up more than 100%, so really a big move. And of course, a part of that can be explained by a bullish environment for crypto in general, where you see a big move for Bitcoin since March of 2025, and also Ethereum is leading the charge now for altcoins. But if you take a look at, for example, CRO Bitcoin, or also if you take a look at ETH CRO, in general, it has been following along or even outpacing them in general. So something is going on for the CRO token, because normally, if you take a look at normal economics, if more supply is being introduced, you require a lot more demand as well to keep increasing the price. So what is really going on? To truly understand what is going on, we need to dive a lot deeper into the actual blockchain explorer, but also to find out more details about the Cronos Strategic Reserve itself. So let's get started with that one. What we do know is that 70 billion CRO tokens were created in April of 2025. Some people call it the unburn because previously 70 billion tokens also have been destroyed with a burn. But guys, burn tokens cannot be brought back to life, so they created new tokens after a government proposal. That brought back though the total supply to 100 billion CRO. And those 70 billion tokens though, they were put into the Strategic Reserve escrow wallet. So an escrow wallet meaning the Cronos Labs team cannot touch them yet, because what they have is a 5-year lockup in the escrow wallet. That doesn't mean though that all of these tokens are locked up for 5 years. No, they have a linear vesting model. Every month, and I can better show you that with the CoinMarketCap chart here, but every month a small piece, 1.16 billion tokens, are being unlocked until in 2030 we have unlocked all 70 billion tokens. So guys, that is really what is going on. At the moment of recording, CRO is worth, give or take, 13.9 cents. And the total amount of CRO that is unlocked is 4.6 billion CRO. So a total amount of 640 million US dollars, about 15% of the total market cap at the moment of recording again. So in theory, there should be a big amount of sell pressure for the CRO token. But here's the kicker. Nothing is being sold yet. What you see now on the screen is the Cronos Strategic Reserve escrow wallet. So initially this had 70 billion CRO and now about 65 billion are left. So the 4.6 billion have moved. But where did they go to? Well, they went to a different account. If you take a look again on chain, because guys, it's all very transparent luckily, you can find it all just simply moved to a new wallet. Here we have the Cronos Strategic Reserve, 4.66666 billion CRO, all sitting still in this wallet. Nothing is happening with the reserve. But why is nothing happening with this reserve? In the document that also introduces the Cronos Strategic Reserve, they do give a bit more information about the vision really for CRO and what's really the use case. And one of the things they do mention here that's very important is the seeding of the ETF formation. Seeding of the ETF formation. This should help capture institutional adoption through Cronos Exchange Traded Funds, so the CRO ETF. And as you guys might know, Treasury Capital in May of this year, they actually filed for the Cronos ETF. But this Cronos ETF is still pending. So of course, ladies and gentlemen, while this ETF is not yet live, there's no need for any CRO to be going into that actual ETF. In the most recent AMA with CEO Kris of Crypto.com, Kris talks a bit more about the ETF and why seeding actually doesn't give any additional sell pressure. But let's talk a bit more about that after the quick word of today's sponsor. Obsidian Finance is a platform to make trades on-chain, but more importantly, they've remained very loyal to their core roots because you can only trade on Cronos or Cronos ZK EVM. And they also care about the community because they have added the CRO communities. The CRO communities are self-made communities that are trading on the Cronos chain and can, for example, sort by volume. And there you can see that, for example, Robin on Cronos has been the most active CRO community. You can find all the statistics, the top traders, and also what pools are available, for example, for the NFTs, logs, and also potentially contests for trading. Check Obsidian out, guys, in the link in the description down below. Anyways, let's go back to the AMA with Kris and let's hear what he has to say about it.
I also want to address one issue that I think is not really deeply understood in the community, is that whenever we seed an ETF, this does not create a natural seller. It's akin to a loan where the ETF issuer is not the holder of the coin and is not a natural seller. So the impact on the sell side is none. So this needs to be understood. And I think, if you look at the action following the announcement, I don't think anybody saw any material selling in the market. So keep it in mind, ETFs are a huge net positive for the ecosystem. It's not easy to get it done, but we will get it done for all major issuers.
The ETFs Kris is mentioning have an expected go-live date near the end of 2025. And I'm talking about the Canary Capital Stake CRO ETF, but also about the Trump Media Crypto Blue Chip ETF, including 5% of CRO. So I do expect that near the end of the year, we will start to see some movements in the Strategic Reserve wallets. But of course, then the question rises, they don't require 70 billion CRO to seed these ETFs. So what's happening with the other CRO? In the picture that we shared earlier, we do see some other use cases for the CRO Reserve. For example, incentives and rewards, app and exchange benefits, development funds, and grants and incubation. And I do believe that in the end, this will lead to some more sell pressure to the CRO token because, for example, here, the grants and incubation, if they want to lure more developers to the Cronos chain, they need to use grants, for example. And these grants, in the end, I think will be sold off by the developers because they need to pay rent as well and need to buy food. So grants are basically payments for them as well. If those grants, though, are successful and they bring actually more people to the chain in the end, I think the sell-off effect might be somewhat diminished, but it will be, I think, also a sell-off in the end. Am I worried, though? Not really. Personally, I'm a big believer of cycles for crypto, so boom and bust moments. And I do believe that this cycle now in 2025 is coming closely to an end. I think we have a few months left. Let's say it's going to end on January 1st here of 2026. Now you can see that about 10.5 billion CRO has been unlocked. That's a lot, but not really that much. And also do consider that a big part of that will be used by the ETF seeding. So not that much will be left for grants and incubation, for example. And even those grants and incubation are also, for example, the other incentives, maybe for the app or the exchange. Those typically also have like a lock moment. So they can only be sold off after 90 days, 180 days. It depends. So I do believe that the amount of sell pressure in this last part of this bull cycle will be very minimal. So going to, for example, $1 for CRO should be no issue. After that, though, that is, I think, harder to tell. It's a hard forecast. What will happen in 2029? I don't know. I recommend, though, myself to take some profit near the end of the cycle. And then, of course, we can take a look in the future what is going to happen. Short term, ladies and gentlemen, this strategic reserve could even work like a carrot on a stick, bringing more people to the chain and also to the token. So personally, I am actually still quite bullish, and I actually want to see what's going to happen with the reserve. So guys, if you want to follow along, I will keep you up to date. So don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more. And if you want to learn a bit more about the Cronos Strategic Reserve, you can also check out this video that I created in the past.